One of the most confusing things about somatic work, and honestly, growth in general, is that people can often assume that they're making progress because something feels different. They feel calmer, more open, more regulated, or more grounded, more aligned. And that felt sense absolutely matters. It's a thing, but it is a terrible primary metric for capacity because capacity isn't revealed when things feel good. It's revealed the moment that pressure shows up. And what I mean by capacity here is very simple. It's how much intensity your system can remain organized inside of. Not how much you understand, not how much you can explain, not even how much you can feel. It's what holds when demand increases. Before I go further, this is yet another one of those conversations that lands very differently depending on how you're wired. So if you haven't taken our Somatic Skins Quiz yet, it's really worth doing because it tells you how your nervous system will organize to meet pressure by default. Capacity training looks very different for different skins, and without that context, people can often train the wrong thing and then wonder why nothing sticks. So you can pause this video, go down and take it, come back. Here's the trap that a lot of people fall into. They confuse relief with resilience. If a practice makes you feel better, that doesn't mean that it has increased your capacity. It just may have simply reduced the load. Real progress shows up when the same load that used to disorganize you no longer does. That's the capacity threshold, and it's measurable, even if people don't like that word. Let me make this concrete with two very different examples. First, the warrior. For the warrior skin, capacity is often cultivated through direct engagement by force, not metaphorical force like Star Wars, literal load. The deadlift is the perfect example of this because it's not just a strength exercise in the gym. It is, but because of what it does internally. When you deadlift properly, you're organizing your entire structure around one single task: lift the weight. So your bones stack, tension distributes, attention narrows or consolidates, your breath stabilizes, and there's no room for fragmentation. You're either integrated or the lift doesn't happen. And what's being trained there isn't just muscle, it is your full internal structure. It's mind-muscle integration. It's the ability to enter one mind state under acute stress and then clear that stress rapidly once the task is complete. That matters because stress hormones spike during the lift and then they clear over and over again. The system learns something very specific. Pressure can be met, organized, and released without damage. You don't think yourself resilient in that process. You become resilient. The nervous system updates through experience. And so over time, the warrior's capacity rises. More force can be met without collapse, panic, or unnecessary bracing. And that capacity will show up everywhere else in life, even if the person never consciously connects it back to the deadlift. That's amazing. Now let's look at the asset, often called the empath. For this skin, capacity isn't built through force. It's built through staying present when the system wants to flee, and slow breathing practice is emblematic here. Not because it's calming, actually, but because of what slow breathing demands under the hood. When you slow the breath deliberately, especially when CO2 levels begin to rise, the body experiences that as a threat. There's an urge to escape, to distract, to panic, to abandon the practice altogether, and that is the moment where training happens. It is the practice that cultivates self-sufficiency under pressure, and it teaches the system how to remain connected and relaxed at the same time. which is not a passive state, it's active. It creates internal space to sense and perceive rather than reflexively merge with or manage the environment. As CO2 rises, attention sharpens, sensation increases, the system learns that it can stay, that it doesn't have to flee intensity to remain safe or resourced. Over time, this matures the empathic capacity of an asset. Sensitivity stops being destabilizing and it becomes a resource. Again, this is not conceptual. You don't talk yourself into being regulated. Your nervous system learns through repeated exposure that presence is survivable. That is the key point. Capacity isn't measured by how you feel during the practice. In truth, it's measured when a situation no longer disrupts you outside of the practice. If a situation that used to hijack your attention no longer does, capacity has increased. If pressure that used to fragment you now organizes you, capacity has increased. If your system recovers faster after stress, capacity has increased. And that is real, measurable progress. This is why the Somatic Skins book goes so deeply into capacity and how it's trained differently depending on your nervous system orientation. It's not theory for theory's sake. It's a manual for matching practice to nervous system in reality so that adaptation actually occurs. This is why in the Prestige as well, capacity is trained live, under time pressure in relational environments with real stakes, because capacity that only exists in controlled conditions or cultivated conversations, that's not capacity yet. The nervous system doesn't care what you believe about yourself. It cares only to what you can respond to and what you have trained it to handle. So if you want to know where your current capacity threshold is, start with the quiz. It'll tell you far more about what to train next than how you currently feel. Capacity isn't a vibe. It's what holds when the moment demands more. If you enjoy this video and you want to see more like it, please do like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you being here and hanging out with me for a few, and I'll see you next time.